Да я 100 раз так делал.
Good afternoon, guys.
Hi all, it's Alex, and today we try to start our new project about platform for applications, for modern applications. And Alex, why we start this activity?
Well, you know, I'm a person who is more connected with different devices and user computing things, and I was just passing by, and then I saw Alex, and he said like, let's check out this cool stuff. We got applications, we got modern things, and we gotta look into that because this is hype, this is interesting, and we may be missing something cool. So I thought, okay, let's try it out, and here we are doing our experimental show, which is going to be called, I don't know what's going to be called, maybe Foundry Friday.
Maybe. And moreover, we just infrastructure guys, and we know a lot about infrastructure, but we know a little about applications, how to build applications, how this world works. We know something about CI/CD and DevOps, but basically from infrastructure side. And today we try to understand better how applications work, how to build our own application, and how developers live in this world, and why today we say that data center for now is mainly for developers rather than for infrastructure guys and so on.
In other words, we're gonna learn, and we invite you to learn with us.
Yeah, and we know little about technologies which we try to understand, which we try to install, and I have some experience with PaaS topic, and I have some experience with writing applications, but I never installed this kind of clouds inside infrastructure on the customer side or on our demo environment and so on. And we with this show try to show you how it will be for the newbies who don't know about this, and let's check all our difficulties in this way. So let's start.
Yeah, so Alex knows a little bit more than me. He knows a little more about PaaS, yeah. And I'm going to be the total newbie, so he's going to show me stuff, and I'm going to emulate the total newbies. But I'm a total newbie, so I don't have to emulate anything actually. And he's going to tell me what is this thing about Cloud Foundry development experience on Kubernetes. Yeah.
Not about Cloud Foundry developer experience on Kubernetes, but experience about Cloud Foundry. I opened my first window, and today's session is the first session on how to install and build these products. We try this format, and we try to record these sessions to educate ourselves and show you how it will work. And we base our solutions on the Cloud Foundry. Cloud Foundry is a platform as a service. It's a next level of abstraction and resource pooling to developers, and to bring some platform to write, to run, and to begin to work with new modern applications based on microservices, but not only microservices. And just because we work for VMware, it's our own project, but here we try to implement and to install Tanzu Application Services, which is based on Cloud Foundry, to show you how it can work. And first of all, I will show you some things. We can go to the Cloud Foundry, the Foundry page, and check that Cloud Foundry is the gateway to the Cloud Foundry ecosystem, and there are a lot of some certified distributions. There are several companies such as Atos, such as Cloud.gov, such as IBM, such as SAP, SUSE, Swisscom, and of course VMware, who implement Cloud Foundry as their paid solution, as their own solution, because you of course can download open source Cloud Foundry, which is based on the Bosch release engineering tool, and this tool to automate some developer experience and automate the infrastructure to run some applications, to run and prepare infrastructure to run virtual machines, to run networks, to set up all this, to run applications on top of this. And all these companies have their own implementation of Cloud Foundry, and we today will base our solution on the VMware Tanzu platform. Tanzu platform contains several different topics. One of well-known topics is Kubernetes, which is built on container services called Tanzu Kubernetes Grid. And another one part of these solutions is all about developers and all things about developers. And the main platform here is came to VMware from Pivotal, and previously Tanzu Application Platform called Pivotal Application Services. And today we will try to install Tanzu Application Services, and first of all we need to install base products. Today we will try to set up Operations Manager, Ops Manager. It's a one window to administrate and to install other solutions based and included in the Tanzu Application Services. And we will start from deploying Ops Manager. First of all, we need to go to docs pivotal.io.
Start from the docs. Start from the manual.
Start from the docs. And I already have this page. We will open this site. And
so Alex, different distributions of Tanzu is like different distributions of OpenStack, something similar?
No, we have one Tanzu Application Service for VMs, and this is what is called Tanzu Application Services. So it is the base platform which we try to install. To install Tanzu Application Services, we need to install Ops Manager. Ops Manager is one window to start the processes and to admin and deploy any other things which is in Tanzu portfolio.
Yeah, I just saw the Cloud Foundry from IBM as well, Cloud Foundry from SAP. It's some other distributions like
I understood your phrase. Yes, Tanzu Application Services, it's like different distribution of OpenStack, exactly. And IBM have this solution and SAP has this solution, but in their own clouds. And we will try to install this on-prem because main solutions from IBM and SAP is the cloud-based solutions, and we would like to have this inside our infrastructure because we have some tasks from our customers that we should have our apps, our data inside our own data center. Of course, we can use another data center because Cloud Foundry in general and Tanzu Application Services supports different clouds. TaaS support Google Cloud, TaaS support AWS Cloud, TaaS support Azure Cloud, and so on. But we will try to install it inside our own infrastructure and base it on the vSphere. Okay, first of all, I need
everything in our own infrastructure.
Yeah.
Just like in Germany, by the way.
Because it's really interesting how to install this and to know a little bit more about this product, not just slide decks and not just theory and so on. First of all, I have connected to my environment. It's demo environment, which is somewhere in Moscow, and I need to download some distributions. I already downloaded with preparing to this session because it's really big distributions. It's about 25 to 30 gigabytes.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah, that's big because Ops Manager contains a lot of stuff inside, and there's different distributions of the Ops Manager, some for vSphere, some for OpenStack, some for Google Cloud Platform, and I've downloaded this guy. And the second part which I should download, I show a little bit later. I open session to my Jambox. And inside Jambox I have this folder, and inside this folder I've downloaded some software which I will use later in our installation and in our sessions. And the main part is this distribution. It's OVA file, and we should deploy this file to the sphere. And before deploying this distribution, we should prepare something. First of all, we need one IP address for the operations manager itself, and we should have a DNS record for them.
This sounds similar to many of.
Yeah, I've prepared some. Okay, I will don't show this. I will just check with ns lookup ops envelope.ru, and I have this address for the operations manager. And just because I've connected remotely, I can deploy this from my own laptop, but I'm not in the same network, and it will be much faster to deploy this to the locally. I have two centers and two infrastructures. One infrastructure is for hosting some solutions. It's hosts all the centers, all services for lab environment, and I have another one, vCenter, which is a resources vCenter for workloads, and later we will use them to deploy applications. First of all,
processes needed to deploy the ops manager, and
we should check this information in the docs. I don't remember, but install ops manager and runtimes, installation overview.
I saw something like 46 gigabytes of RAM.
It's for all applications inside data center, inside Tanzu Application Service. For ops manager itself, it should be much less. It's about 8 gigs of RAM. And
okay, that's doable.
We will see this now. Okay, we will select ops manager. It's the latest version, 2.9.5 with some view. I will place it in the hosted folder, and I place my name just to be sure that it's mine. I have 4 hosts for hosting applications. It's some steps to validate OVA file, validate certificates, and so on. It's usual process to deploy any OVA files. So it needs about 160 gigs in the storage.
Thick provisioned, I see. So right away.
Thick. We will deploy as a thin provisioned disk, because vSAN is the default policy for thin provision. We have some space, about 1.5 terabytes of the storage here. We will select infrastructure network. Then we will set some settings. 89 as I remember, yes, 89. Some network settings. It's really important task, and I shouldn't be mistaken here. So you can just say something, Alex.
I see username is Ubuntu and SSH key.
Yes, and
based on Ubuntu distribution.
Yes, it's all based on Ubuntu distribution, and with the Tanzu Application Services, you have a BOSH as the release engineering tool, the tool to deploy anything, and there is some kind of term is stem cell. Stem cell is a specially prepared operation system, and we go to discuss about this. I will open the page on the bosch.io. It's open source product, and stem cells is prepared operation systems with a base operation system and minimum software. They contains BOSH agent inside, just to work with BOSH director, and you have several distributions based on different distributions of Ubuntu Xenial, and prepared for different kind of clouds. You can see it's have both stem cells for Alibaba, for Amazon, for Azure, for Google, and I've downloaded for vSphere. You even have a stem cells for Windows, but it's not a Windows operation system. It's some kind of agent and scripts to prepare Windows operation system. Because of this disclaimer, because you should pay for Microsoft for licenses for Windows, and I've downloaded for installing Ops Manager and Voice Director and Tanzu Application Services distribution for vSphere. And because of these prepared distributions, anything in the Tanzu Application Services is based on Ubuntu operation system. So, and I started to copy my SSH key. I have prepared previously for other labs and other kind of stuff cloud key, and I just copy this key to my installation, and I should place .ru. Looks good. What do you think, Alex?
I think that we will have another repository for this show, and one of the things we need to point out there is a link to the community Cloud Foundry as well, because I didn't see it in the list that you showed. I saw the commercial distributions, but we need maybe someone will be interested to point at the how do you call it, the basis, yeah, foundation.
Yeah, okay, and we should wait a little bit while this OVA file deployed into the infrastructure.
Maybe you can tell about the architecture of the solution while the thing is importing, right?
Yes, I will show you another one vCenter. This is the resource vCenter, and this vCenter will host all our workloads. I prepared here, it's a Tanzu Kubernetes grid inside, but today I will use prepared resource pool which named PaaS, and I have a folder named PaaS, and I have folder templates which I will use later, and I have storage cluster with the 2 data stores inside, but later I will show this solution cannot use storage cluster, and I will set these separate data stores at the endpoint. I have several networks. I have management network, it's for management purposes, and all the management services, all the management VMs will be placed inside this network. I have another network users, and I have some pool of IP addresses from this network. I will use this later, and I have another network DHCP with DHCP inside. So it deploys.
It's taking its time, yeah.
It takes some time. Okay, and let's talk about some architecture. I will show you. It's all inside the documentation. You can check several architectures based on the VMs, of course, based on the AWS, based on Azure, and so on. And we will use vSphere reference architecture. Today we will use Tanzu Application Services based on, for VMs based on vSphere without NSX, because it's different complex topic, and it should contain a lot of other stuff, and we will try to install without NSX, but NSX is the cool thing to virtualize networking, and we will use them later. But in the first step, we will just install install Tanzu Application Service based on simple port groups on the vSphere, and try to see how it will work.
Yeah, we'll start small. NSX
Yeah.
will bring in lots of complexity, so, and it's not the point of the applications topic to install the network environment right now. So we'll see what we'll do about NSX part.
Yes, and
It's not needed so far, yeah.
and while deployed, I will try to find another one topic here about runtime. There are two versions of the runtime. Installing overview. We will before we install Tanzu Application Services, we should prepare infrastructure and review some requirements for this here. We will have some requirements without NS6 prerequisites. We'll open this link. Requirements.
Let's look at the prerequisites.
Yeah, general requirements. It's to deploy an Ops Manager and Tanzu Application Services for VMs. We should have wildcard DNS record. Documentation shows that we can use some services, CREEP-001, but I've prepared special DNS records inside my infrastructure. It's subdomain TaaS with two subdomains app and sys with a wildcard record pointing to another one address, and this will be a load balancer and HA proxy to distribute connections, because when Tanzu Application Services deploy application, it will generate some DNS record for the application. It's unique record, and then HA proxy or load balancer should point these user connections to this application and to distribute it to some nodes or some containers and so on to serve the user's traffic. And I've created a wildcard report which will serve any DNS records, so we can check just test app as ru. Well, I just don't put the NS lookup before, and all DNS records will point to this address, and the same thing will go with sys subdomain.
So you basically emulated this special service, right?
Yeah. And while deploying, I will show you another thing. I will use XCA as a cool thing to deploy certificates. I will open database for certificates. Map and database. It's just local certification authority. I don't like Microsoft certification authority, and EGBTA is a little bit big for my infrastructure, and those I used XCA based on OpenSSL and to manage my certificates. And I've prepared a certificate for wildcard certificate for Tanzu Application Services with several addresses inside. I have subject alternative names. You can check this in the documentation, and I have wildcarded certificate for app or sys, and to log into the different services you should have all these records inside the certificate and inside the subject alternative name. And of course I prepared my certificate for Ops Manager. It's just for ops.winrelab.ru, just to trust to Ops Manager by itself.
So it's a super small certificate server, basically.
It's not a server, it's just certificate authority, and it's all of these things, all of these certificates is just in one file. You can check this file in the file system. As I show, I open it in my infrastructure. It's exported certificates, but this is one file with 300 kilobytes to save all these certificates, and I can easily create a new certificate. I can easily write some things, make extensions and so on, and I use it in all my proof of concept, all my lab environments and so on, because it's small, it's simple, it's useful.
Convenient.
Yeah. Convenient, yeah. Okay, it's one thing, and another thing I will try to find task for VM runtimes, task concepts. And this thing, what about we talked already. It's about what is the platform as a service. It's a next layer of abstraction on top of the infrastructure as a service, and we will work with applications and data. And lately we tried to write our own application which is used this platform. We just not install this platform just for platform. We'll try to use to write and maintain some application here.
Yeah, so I'm not just a newbie, I'm going to emulate a newbie developer who's going to try use this thing after deployment. Yeah. Without thinking about the underlying infrastructure. Alex, you promised me that I'm going to ask, like, give me a database, and then some magic happens and I got a database.
Yeah. Okay. And I will try to find another one thing. When you deploy Tanzu Application Services, you have two different options to deploy this solution. One is full-featured Tanzu Application Service for large deployments for thousands and hundreds of thousands of applications, and another one for small deployments. And the main difference in scaling of this. And you have some limitations, but let's talk about the differences. VMs in PaaS contain a lot of systems, and small footprint contain a little bit less amount of these systems. It's the same functionality, but some of the services is combined into the one virtual machine or one container and so on. And you can check small footprint PaaS services, and you can check some limitations. The number of app instances is the main limitation of the small footprint. Of course, to try, you can install Tanzu Application Services or Cloud Foundry on your own laptop, and there is a special distribution for this, but we would like to install it in the data center, and how our customers will do this in their infrastructure. So, and I selected to install Tanzu Application Services for VMs, and you should download, and on the Tanzu network, you should download Tanzu Application Service, not for Kubernetes, just Tanzu Application Services. Tanzu Application Service for VMs. Today we will work with TaaS for VMs, and you should download small footprint of PaaS or TaaS in the new terminology. And I've already downloaded this big distribution. This is the biggest one. It's about 10 gigabytes, and it looks like my Ops Manager deployed already. I should start them power on operation. We should wait a little bit.
So, do I correctly understand we're going to go for the large installation?
Maybe later, because large installation requires a lot of resources, and I don't have such power in my data center. I have only 4 servers here and only 2 here, and it's a quite old service. Maybe on your infrastructure, Alex, we could install a large.
Okay, let's start small. I will try not to write more than 2,500 applications all at once.
So, and in the Tanzu Application Services terminology and architecture, you should have availability zones. It's isolated resources, can be distributed geographically, and at the first step we will install in our demo environment, in one Moscow demo environment, and maybe for second availability zone we can install it in your environment. Alex, what do you think about it?
Yeah, just tell me how many resources we need for this, for the availability zone. As I understand, the infrastructure components will be in the central zone, right? And they will be duplicated in the second zone, or not?
You should duplicate some of the machines. Oh, I closed that tab already. Okay, I will show you later.
Okay.
Ops Manager by itself should be installed only once, and it's a central console to work and to admin all of the stuff. And then we should install Bosch Manager. We should wait a little bit while it starts. You can open it console and check if it already started. It started already. Fast. Okay. And to start, I will use internal authentication because I don't have a SAML identity provider today. We can configure it later, or Alex will install VMware IDM, and I will start with internal authentication. Username, Alexei, password.
Can I use this login?
Of course, I will create.
I'm also Alexei.
I will. But you're Alexei I.
Okay, I need a separate login then.
Yeah.
Big difference. One letter, big difference.
Okay, and we will not use HTTP or other proxies. Start authentication. I will save this for now and wait for a moment. Okay, it started already. I will try to log in, and I will save my login information for now. Perfect. We have pre-installed tile for Bosch, and it is the last step for today to deploy Bosch. First of all, we should enter vCenter configuration, and as I said before, I will use another one vCenter.
So you can have several vCenters here, as I understand.
Of course, and later you can use it as a separate availability zones.
Okay, understood. I also have a vCenter, only one, unlike you. But I also have one.
I will check. This is another one pre-requirements to have a service account for the vCenter. And I prepared the service account, but I don't remember username.
Oh, you know how they do it in the pilots. Just use administrator at the VMware.
No, I don't like this way, and I always use unique names for different accounts and different things. Or ops-m.
Okay, so you're
ops-m.
You're a secure guy. Okay, that's good.
It's not for security, it's for debugging, because in the logs I will see ops-m and I will know that there are some troubles with operations manager, with login site, with VROps, NSX, or other services.
Yeah, there's always some trouble with NSX.
Okay, for data center name, I should put data center name, and my data center, name it my DC. My space DC. Virtual disk type I will use thin, and here I should put data stored for ephemeral volumes and for persistent volumes, and I have two data stores, as I said before, one for persistent and one for ephemeral. I will use this here.
So you cannot make a mistake in the names here.
Yeah,
That's
it doesn't matter for me, but in enterprise infrastructures, in production, you should be careful here. And I will use standard vCenter networking. Later we will try to use NSX networking. and I will use TaaS folder for deployed VMs, templates folder for my templates, and I showed you previously the thing I prepared already. I have some templates here, but Ops Manager will create some unique folder names as a subfolders of this folder and so on. And for this path, I will enter just TaaS.
It's an existing path.
Now Ops Manager will create them lately on the data stores which I put previously. The next step is the directory config. NTP, what are you? Bosch. We don't use this forwarder. Enable resurrector plugin. It's to resurrect VMs and containers in case of failure.
Reboot them, basically.
Reboot, but not only reboot, it's try to restart services inside Bosch or VMs since restart services, because just for reboot it's native vSphere functionality such as high availability, such as DRS, and vSphere by itself can do the basic resurrection actions. And this is additional actions just to build a reliable infrastructure. We should enable post deploy scripts, enable Bosch deploy retries, and if we enable this check mark, the Bosch and scripts will retry to start scripts again in case of some issues, failure, and so on. Skip director, enable Bosch deploy retries, and I should find some check mark to post deploy. We don't need this. Internal database location. You should enter this one check mark, and we will use internal CREEP-Hub encryption provider to store all credentials for services. Internal store, you can use external AWS S3 compatible blob store or Google Cloud external store, but in our lab and today we will use just internal storage.
Yeah, for total control.
Yeah,
everything.
For total control. We will create additional availability zone. You select which vCenter. You select cluster with name my cluster. We will select resource pool, previously created resource pool. It's empty for now. TaaS. Host group, I don't have any host groups, and all other things we should leave with default settings. Later we will create another availability zone on your DC, but maybe in next sessions.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I will create two networks, one for infrastructure services such as Bosch director, such as maybe other services, databases, and so on. And I should enter this information in the format with slash its DB switch name slash network name. So I should put dswitch-am slash users and the same for management network. Okay. This network name it infrastructure. This sphere network name.
So basically the management network and the resource network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put some information, and I have a lot of reserved IP addresses here, so I put it in this box. And you separated this with
That's quite some ranges over there.
Yeah. And the last one. Check here. Wait a little bit while it saves this information. Cannot login, cannot complete. Oh, it seems like I have a mistake in the center name. How many times you have mistakes in password, Alex?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah. You know the joke when you tell your wife, please make me some tea, and your wife tells you go to hell, and then you say sudo, wife, please make me tea, and the wife says okay, I'll make you some tea.
Okay, and
That's a Linux joke.
they create separate network, which I name users. Users. And I make it's a little bit less of IP addresses and exclusion regions.
Yeah. It's a bit simpler,
Yeah.
or so it seems.
65. Only one. Make it available for this availability zone.
Okay, what's up? What's new?
I have mistake in switch name.
Okay. I don't make mistakes in switch names every day, just in case you want to ask.
Here you just put okay. Let's install here. Save. All other things can be left by default. To generate deployment trust custom root certificate, and I just place here 2 certificates of my infrastructure. You can, it's other awesome function of this certification authority. You can just right click and export to clipboard.
We should add the link to XCA just in case somebody will start looking for it.
It's quite old thing and quite old app, but it's very useful.
Yeah, so
Okay, resource config. Yeah, I leave it by default. It's all default settings. So I've filled all the steps of the wizard, and then we should start deploying, apply changes, and it's quite long process. We will finish for today's session, and in the next session we will have prepared infrastructure, because all these steps take for about half or an hour, and we could wait in the stream, but we will start our next session from this step.
yeah, stream magic.
Yeah, stream magic. And as a next step, we will prepare and start to install Tanzu Application Services for VMs. So thank you guys for watching, and
I hope you enjoyed the first of our videos. Yeah, and we're welcoming your questions.
Yeah, and let's meet in the next session.